she was older, so she kind of fell into the mama leader role. But then the other chick, she kicked back like, no, we going in a circle. Why we lost? I'm gonna do it. And then she wanted to be the leader.
They was lost because they weren't listening to the leader though. The mama was telling them where to go, and they weren't listening to her. That's why they weren't
listening, and they stayed lost. And the one girl decided like, no, I've had enough. You ain't gonna lead. I'm a lead. And then she was like, all right, well then lead. And then she led, and then they was lost again. Then she on her own decided, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be the leader. No, you take it back. Take it back. And it's like, as a black woman, you probably, and like I said, when you just you got black skin, you live in that environment, you see that, you like, nigga, I'm not about to get into these white people stuff. I'm gonna let them argue because it's like y'all arguing, y'all fighting. I'm gonna let y'all fight. I'm just gonna let me know if y'all need something.
Welcome to the Team Up Podcast, where we have too many feelings. I'm your host, T. Staples, and I'm joined today by
it's your main man, Freddie B. I'm in the building. You already know what it is.
All right, you in the building. I'm glad. It's getting warm though. You may want to leave. Get you some air, man. And who else we got?
What it do? It's your girl Alona Boo.
Booyah! She's in here. And on today's show, we have a reoccurring guest, our producer. Where you at, producer man? What's your name?
What's going on? This is the good doctor, Dr. Buddy Lee.
Now, how we know you good? Now, you gonna add that superlative to your name. We don't even know. Ain't nobody visited you yet. Where your patients at? And who else we got on the line?
Hey, y'all. It's Shenette.
Hey, Shenette. Welcome.
Hey, y'all. It's Shenette. I'm
here. I don't have any nicknames, and I don't have no distinctive voice like Doctor over there. Ooh. It's just me. It is what it is. You get what you get.
And we got what we got. There we go.
Don't hate on the
sound
smooth
like
silk.
Buddy Lee may get what he gonna get.
Whoopsies. Come over here. All right. So if you feel our show us how you feel by subscribing so you can get notified when a new episode's drop. And guess what, guys? We're doing this. We got 5 people on the line tonight, and we are all remote from all corners. Not really. Mostly on the east side, but we're coming from the north and the south. How about that?
A little
2 from
Midwest in
Nashville. Yeah, a little bit of Midwest in there, Minnesota, New York. You know what I'm saying? We're doing it all remote, y'all. So just make sure you leave us a message. Our handles are in the description below. We love to hear how you feel. In today's episode, we're going to attempt to answer a question. This question is a question developed by an adventure show. That show is Bear Grylls, The Island, season 2, that is. And that question is simply this, people. Do men need women to survive? Do women need men to survive? And what important gender roles do we need to cultivate in our own black community today? But first, it's time for a moment I like to call the internet never lost. Yeah. That was a good one right there, y'all. Y'all got to admit, that was a good one. I worked on that one. That's shows. Right. Yeah.
Sound fluid.
Yeah. I'm moist. I'm moisturized.
Real moist.
I started searching for information on our topic today. And in my search results, I came across a book that had a title that was so provocative, I had to stop and look at it. Which I think the title was, I'll tell you, don't guess. The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman by, I hope I don't tear her name up, but here we go, Shahrazad Ali. Here's a little clip from one of the seminars she gave, and I'll use this clip as a preference for some of the things we're going to talk about today.
We have to look at our condition in the light of truth. Stop reacting emotionally and pretending that just because we don't want to deal. One of the most difficult things that I deal with out here is trying to teach our people the difference between an actual fact and an opinion. Our people think that they can accept or reject truth based on how they feel about it. Your feelings don't change the truth. The truth is just going to be there. You can feel any kind of way you want to feel about it. Those kind of emotions have kept us from growing. Because anything we don't like, we just reject that and say, well, I don't believe that. That don't mean that it's not the truth. It just makes you a disbeliever.
So, for all my listeners out there, this is a real easy question. I'm just going to ask y'all. Y'all can leave it in the description below. How does your feelings affect the truth? And are the ones who complain the most the true problem? or just excavators of the issues? Send us a message. Our handles are in the description below, and let us know how you feel. This has been yours truly, and this week's edition of The Internet Never Lost. Oh, and guess what? We got some more from her coming in later. Okay, y'all. Woo! Internet Never Lost. I heard these clips. I was looking up for The Internet Never Lost, and I ran across her book, and I found her seminars online, and I started listening to them. This is a powerful. This woman has been doing some powerful investigation into what's going on with us, and this is back in the 90s. Most of the stuff that I found, but it's still relevant today, and we in 2021. That's it. Let me count. That's 30 years later, right? 31 years later, and I'm like, this is deep. Okay, Alona Boo, Freddie B, Dr. Butterly, Shenette. What do y'all think about your feelings versus the truth? What she was talking about. I'll let the ladies have it first. Anyone of y'all? Ladies, I'll let y'all take this one first.
Well, I personally felt like there was a lot of truth in what she just said, especially within the Black community. If it's not something that is pleasant to you and to your spirit, then they tend to feel like, oh, that's not true, or they don't want to hear it, period. It goes back to in a lot of families, there's usually some kind of big secret that goes on in certain families where it's somebody molesting so-and-so, don't leave the children with Uncle Johnny. Just all that type of stuff that goes on within the Black community where it's a big secret because they don't want to admit the truth. Uncle Johnny is a pedophile. Keep him away from the children. So they don't, instead of saying that, they just say, just keep him away from the children, and stuff like that. There is a history. A masking, brushing under the rug. They don't want to address the issues that are going on within the community. And, like I said, if it's not pleasant, then it's not necessarily a lie, but it's just something they don't want to face at that time. So I agree with what she said wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's good, Alona. Shenette?
Yeah, I agree as well. I'm a very factual person, so I'm fact checking everything. I think the problem is with people and their opinion, like if it doesn't fit their lifestyle or their way of thinking, they always want to dismiss it as truth. And they need to realize that that's just their opinion. It like she said, it does not change like the fact that this is out here. I just think that we don't embrace the truth like we need to because it doesn't fit in our lifestyle and what we want to do. And we use excuses to continue to live the lifestyle that we have and do the things that we want to do. So we don't want the truth to derail what we're already doing or derail what our feelings are. If we're on a path and the truth is going to take us off that path, it's so easy for us to dismiss it so we can keep going down our journey.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. Ooh, Dr. Buddy Lee.
Too many of us just hang on to unnecessary things, and to save our face, we'll just go with our emotions versus just go ahead and lay it on out there. And ladies, us gentlemen hate hearing this question. Does this make me look fat? Should I give you the truth, or should I go with saving your emotions?
Exactly. And that's going to depend on the type of woman you have. If it were me, I just want to know the truth. I ain't trying to go out the house looking like a blimp. So exactly. I just want to know the truth.
Freddie B, what do you think about Miss Ali's clips?
To what she said, I to really take it macro with the whole emotion, I think Black people overall, we're an emotional people based off generational trauma, obviously from chattel slavery. So those things are ingrained in families far and wide, especially when you specifically speaking Black Americans and even just Black people in the Western world. And so you have that emotionalism amongst everybody across the board, men and women. But then, when you look at between men and women are led by the emotions, men are led by logic. When you get to women, then it's exponential in its effect. And so, her talking about being controlled by emotions, like it's so ingrained on every little thing. Like, something can happen and people start with, I just feel like, boom, in the feelings. And the thing is like feelings affect even how we view the facts. even how we view the facts. And so somebody can tell a truth or speak truth to power or speak a fact. And then, even within that, if it's something that you don't like or something that attacks something that you're doing and you don't want to face it, you don't want to deal with it right now, people then attack with straw man arguments, especially ad hominem. People love to use ad hominem when they're attacking somebody speaking facts. And ad hominem is basically attacking that person's character to tear down the truth that they're speaking. And one thing I like to say is the truth don't care who tell it. You know what I mean? The truth is the truth. You know what I mean? Like a rapist can tell you not to rape somebody, but you can't. So if a rapist say like don't rape nobody, you wouldn't say, but you a rapist. It don't matter. What he said is still the truth. You know what I mean? It don't matter if he a rapist. It don't matter what he did. What he said is still the truth. You know what I mean? And so, like, for example, it's different people that say different. Like, you got all these different on YouTube, different people who talk about relationships, and then people come in. A popular thing women like to do with men is like, oh, if you don't have anybody, oh, he must be gay. Like, that's like a dismissive thing. And the popular thing men like to do with women is, oh, she crazy, because it's dismissive. Like, those are just general dismissive things. Like, oh, you can't speak because, oh, she crazy. Oh, he gay. And that's like, okay, then your word don't matter. But even outside that, what people like to do is, what degree you got? You got a degree in that? Right. Oh, okay, well, you can't talk.
Not even your degree. What's your pedigree? Do you have any? Do you have any kind of representation for what you're talking about that I can lean on? Because if you don't, I don't believe you. I don't care.
Right. So people use things like that. Like, what have you went and what have you earned to validate what you're saying? And it's like, okay, let's start from the jump of what are they saying? Let's break down what they're saying. And so that's how you can really get to if it's feeling the fact, breaking down what they're saying.
I'm so glad you said that, Freddie, because it leads us right into the main topic of our show. And based off of what you just said, I want to go right into it. You guys have all watched season 2 of Bear Grylls Island, right? Am I right?
I hate his last name.
You do. You
What's
truly
his name?
hate it. Grills.
I'm messing up. I'm gonna tell his name. Tell your name up, Bear Grylls. But yeah, you've all seen it, right? So I just want to make sure everybody's had a chance to watch at least half of the season.
Yes.
A little bit of the season. Okay. Dr. Buddy Lee, I ain't hear nothing from you.
Yeah, I said
you ain't watch it, did you? Tell the truth.
I said yeah.
All right. And so this first part of our show, I want to really talk about what we saw. So, okay, we saw 14 men, 14 women be put on 2 different islands, right? And they were given a few things: a medical kit. They were given two canteens to clean water with, right? Mm-hmm. Some fishing hooks, fishing line, and what? Themselves, right? Their clothes, a few personal items for themselves. Some I saw some sunblock every now and then. I was like, they got sunblock on the island? But I saw people putting on sunblock, and they were tasked to stay on this island and survive for 6 weeks. 6 whole weeks. Now, first of all, I just want to know, could anybody have done this? Like, just we all come from a modern society, first world. Would you or could you have done this? Anybody?
Drop me off. I can make it.
You own it. Okay. Now why? Why would you say drop me off? I can make it. Is this because you just tired of living in the first world, or you just a glutton for punishment?
No, I can adapt to most situations. So, it can happen. You could be on a plane or you could be on a cruise and something happened, and that actually could be what happens, and you have to survive. You just have to change your mindset and just do what you can to live and survive.
Mindset. Okay, shift your mindset. I hear you. Freddie B, would you have? Would you do this? Would you willingly do this?
Could I and would I, are definitely mutually exclusive. Could I? Yeah. Would I? No.
Right.
So, okay, Alana, so I got your answer too, Alana, so she said right. So
exactly. Like, I wouldn't volunteer to do some shit like that. But, if I'm, on the Titanic and that bitch sank, and I got to, then it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Oh, wait, hold on. If you on the Titanic and it sink, and nobody can survive that.
They did. Some people did survive.
The girl hung on to the door. What's her name? Anne or whatever. She hung on to the door until she got the lifeboat.
Until she got saved.
Right, till the lifeboats
Like
came.
she couldn't survive for 6 weeks.
You know what? And you bring up a good.
She could have floated over to the island, Freddie B.
What island? There was no. It was cold as hell.
I didn't say we were in the same place on the Titanic. This is
But
Titanic
6
too.
weeks is the time limit.
That's a long time. That's a long time. But if she could have made the Bear
Over
Grylls
a
Island.
month and a half. Oh, you niggas better than me. You niggas better than me.
I'm gonna say his name right now. Bear Grylls Island.
Grills.
Oh, Bear Grylls. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't like Bear Grylls
Remember
Island?
them
Freddie B?
gold teeth. Grills.
In
Grills.
in the icy water in the Arctic, surviving 6 weeks floating in icy water. I don't think nobody doing that.
Shenette, would you do it? Would you have done this willingly?
No, absolutely not. Not willingly, not at all. I know you got to know yourself, and I know how I am. 8 hours with no food, it's not happening.
It's not happening. Well, now so it's interesting that you brought this up because there's a rule that was spoken on the show. They said the rule of threes. Do y'all remember the rule of threes when they said it?
Yeah,
Say you can go
survive. Oh,
go ahead, Freddie B. Let's see you got it. Go ahead. I'll let you do
you
it.
survive 3 minutes with no air, 3 days with no water. 3 months, 3 weeks with no food.
Exactly. Good. So 3 minutes with no air, 3 days with no water. That's dehydration. Where you actually go into dehydration and your body your liver starts to stop functioning, and 3 weeks with no food. And I thought that was interesting. That was a note they gave them. Now I named a few things when we first started talking about that they were given by Bear Grylls, and one of the other things they were also given was some basic survival techniques. They were taught how to clean water and how to start a fire and how to make a basic shelter. So with that in mind, what are some other basic necessities we need for survival? We're just talking about pure survival. We ain't even gotten into we black yet. We just talking about survival.
We got into we black yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're going to get into that part, but we just, let's get this baseline. What are some things that we need, that we all need for survival? Fellas, what do you need for survival?
I mean, I would say you definitely need, obviously, water. You need protein source, and sleep.
Okay.
Sleep is really a big important thing because your body. That's how your body repairs itself.
But so I mean, I would say those 3 things you need for survival.
Survival. Okay. Ladies,
What's
survival. Up? What do you need? What do you need individually, personally? You know, me personally, I need my computer, but can't do nothing with that on the beach. With no food. Computer ain't gonna catch no fish. But anyway, what do you need?
You can look up how to catch fish.
Actually, you can catch fish with a computer. You have to open it up, but you can catch some fish.
Oh yeah.
I think my morale would go down pretty quickly without that communication with my family and friends. Like, I need that. So
okay.
That probably would take me out mentally before the physical effects start to weigh on me.
Wow, that's
Gotcha.
interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Any other necessities? Any necessities or needs?
I mean, we're just attached to technology, period. So, I mean, your phone for your source of communication, to the outside world. I know I need that, amongst the basic necessities of food, water, sleep, and shelter.
Now, all my fans listening out here, if you haven't watched this show, they were not left stranded without any safety points. So they did have a GPS phone that they could call if they wanted to leave the island or if there was an emergency. So it was not a total experiment in survival, but I'll give you a little bit of background. And the reason why I chose this as a reference point for the episode is because in season 1 of this show, they did it with all men. And the media, they got a lot of backlash because there was no women involved. And instead of mixing women and men together, they thought, well, season 2, why don't we do this? Why don't we do all men on one island and all women on another island? And let's create this grand experiment of, can women survive on their own? Can men survive on their own? Now, what I want to talk to you guys about is where do our basic necessities come from in our modern world? Because in this show, they showed that they both needed a set of basic necessities, right? They needed food, they needed water, and really they needed water more than they needed food because they was only there for 6 weeks. So really they could have hit.
They needed fire. They needed fire.
They needed fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And what else? What else do they need?
the containers to even boil the water.
A way to clean the water. Now, there's a website called wildernessawareness.org. And the reason I'm using this website, because Bear Grylls did take some backlash for some of the season 2. He actually got backlash for both seasons, but I think season 3 they finally figured it out. But there are some survival techniques that they needed to understand: how to make a fire, how to build a shelter, how to signal, which I didn't hear any of you guys say. Which is like, so you need to be able to signal in case somebody is in the vicinity, a boat or whatever's coming by. I think there was an episode where one of the girls actually signaled one of the fishermen and got some fish from him.
Yep.
You need a method of signaling, and then food and water and first aid. Those are the 5 things that wilderness.org, this is wildernessawareness.org, says you must have if you are left in a situation like what Bear Grylls left those men and those women. So with that being said, what I want to know is, where do you guys, what do you understand about your basic necessities? You all said, where do they come from? You know, like Freddie B, where does water come from? Where does your drinking water come from?
I mean, right now it comes from really it comes from bottled water I buy from the store, bottled spring water.
That's fair. That's fair.
Rain.
But that's where it comes from. But I mean, I remember back in school doing this experiment on how to purify water. So obviously, you in a survival technique, you're not drinking like clean, crisp water. You know, you're drinking water that might got a little funky taste to it, but you know, as long as it doesn't have parasites, because you know when you boil it, like, so if you notice on the show, well, if anybody's seen the show, like, their water wasn't just perfectly clear. It was like it had like a little yellow tint to it or whatever like that. But that's just based on like algae and different things that you find on the island. But the water isn't full of bacteria or trichinomas and different fungi. Or even viruses in the water, so you know it's able to hydrate them. So,
where do your food come from? Anybody?
My food comes from DoorDash.
It comes from the ground. You can go hunting for animals.
DoorDash and Postmates.
So, Budley, you go hunting today for animals? Just curious.
No,
I'm just asking. This is an honest question. I
go hunting at the grocery store. You know,
okay,
pick out
shop.
what I want to buy.
Yes,
ladies, where your food come from?
Well, there's a store up here called Cub.
There you go.
It's the equivalent of Kroger.
Keep it honest.
In the South.
There you go. Wait a minute.
Cub
is the equivalent of Kroger?
Of Kroger up here. You know, I'm in Minnesota.
Okay. I'm about to say, I know, because there's a Cub down in Georgia. I think that was the ghetto store. Yeah.
No.
I remember Cub Foods.
Yeah. Wasn't that the hood? Wasn't that like the hood store?
Nah, not like that. Nah.
I wouldn't be
it
surprised
wasn't no Publix.
if Kroger didn't own it.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't Publix. Publix came up from Florida. Publix a little more higher level.
Okay.
Yeah. So between Cub and Hy-Vee up here, because Hy-Vee is like the Publix up here, so a little bit more expensive. But between those two, trust me, I have no gardening skills. I do not grow my own food or my own herbs and spices and stuff. I don't do none of that.
So, what about fire, Shenette? You know how to make a fire? I mean, well, let me just. I'm assuming you know how to get that stove blazing up or a grill, right?
Right, I do. But
okay.
Given the utensils that I have, I can make a fire. Now that little bow drill that they had to use, I don't know if I would. I mean, I guess after that training, I don't know. But see, I got a little issues with patience. I don't know if I would have been able to just keep working at that. They were working at that for like hours trying to get that fire.
Yeah.
You got to do it because, like we've already said, you have to be able to purify your water. So you know the necessity of the fire. However, just having to be that dedicated with it, like, I think that would just cause so much frustration. So, I need you to give me what I'm used to having at home in order for there not to be any irritability with it. But hey, I wouldn't be able to pull that one out there.
Yeah. Well, here comes the Thanos glove, the magical snap. That was it. Now you're with your core group. It's Alona and Shenette. It's Freddie B and Dr. Buddy Lee. If left with your own core group, do you think you'll be able to survive? Just with your own core group. It's
so
just you.
We separate. Just it's me and Shenette and it's Dr. Buddy Lee. And
that's it. Y'all separate. Thanos glove. Snap.
I don't know. Shenette ain't sounding too confident.
I think we can make it.
You think we can make it?
I think we could.
Okay, because
Hell
you got me to talk
Hell
to,
no.
so you ain't by yourself.
Right? That's like she said.
I
that
got
was
the
a
patience.
necessity.
I got
Right.
I got the patience to do the fire.
Right.
Okay.
And another
But
thing,
wait, but
too, is that
no.
we would-
Wait. Here's the question: you got the patience to do the fire? Do you got the patience to deal with Shanice as she starts struggling, missing her family?
Shenette.
Shenette.
My bad, Shenette. I don't know.
Should have had a nickname. I should have had a nickname.
And are you going to
Shenette,
cry?
do
'cause
you
don't
have
get
the
to talk to
have
your
the
family?
patience? Yeah, do you have the patience to deal with Shenette as she started deteriorating mentally because she ain't talked to her family in 3 weeks?
And starts crying.
And starts crying.
But she said
That's my girl, so I
Yeah,
would
but-
have it. Yeah.
Well, now, in the defense,
sound
Freddie
good.
Beach, that Alana led with, she would provide the company because she recognized instantly Shenette's need. So I asked, and this is the reason why I asked you guys about needs, because I want to see, first of all, that's one of the factors in survival is, are you paying attention to your surroundings, right? Alana said, oh, boom, she need this. She gonna lose her mind. Okay, got you. I love how Alana did that. That was an actually great response. Fellas, core group, y'all got it? Or y'all gonna drop the ball?
I've got it.
Y'all got it?
I mean, because
All
me,
right.
I'm me. I got my competitive drive is borderline insane. So you drop me, and it's like, oh, okay, they doing our thing, and we doing our thing. Like, I mean, even watching. The whole
But now
thing,
you don't know what they doing now. You don't know. They not here. Thanos glove. Boom. Women gone. You by yourself.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like I said, I mean, it come like because I've been in situations where it's like I got to figure out something to do, and I gotta jerry rig or. Because it's like I don't have any choice. I got to figure out something to eat. I got to put something together. I got to figure out how to do this or whatever the case may be. And I always figure it out. I'm like, oh, boom, figured it out. I just sit and like, okay, boom. What do I need? What am I trying to do? And you know me, I work backwards. I start with where my point I'm trying to end up. And I just work backwards to where I am. And then, boom, figure out what to do and get it done. So, I mean, I've been resourceful, ingenuitive on numerous different things. So, this right here, especially in their case, like they had training before they went. Like I'm gonna know how to do all this. Like, and I plan insane.
And they only gave them basic survival. They didn't give them full training. They just gave them the basic, like survival techniques, how to make a fish hook,
I know
the fish
with
line
me,
and hook, fire, and all that.
I know how I approach it. Like I would have known I'm going out there. So nigga, I would have been even before the training. I would have been studying. That's all I would have been doing. The days even before the training, been learning how to do all this. Once I get out there, I'm hitting the ground running. I'd have been Bear Grylls myself. I'd have been the black Bear Grylls out there.
I would have took my contacts out and I would have been out there with my glasses on. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna set this fire with these glasses. How the guys did it.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna figure this out. Period. Because we got to survive, and we got to rely on each other.
So
Now notice what y'all just did. Now I want to call one thing out. Well, go ahead, Freddie. I'll let you finish, and I'll call.
what I was gonna say was, so we know that I probably would be the leader of the group because Buddy Lee blind. So.
So notice what they just did. So now, where the ladies instantly went for the need of the other, the need of the group, y'all went for your individual strengths and hierarchy. Off the top, I said nothing else but ask y'all simple questions. What would you be able to survive with your core group? Notice that this show had a very interesting way of highlighting the way we act when we were with our core group or our own sex, right? Ladies with ladies, men with men, the natural things that we do. Did y'all catch that in the show? Did y'all see some of that in the show?
Yeah, because towards the end, the women start breaking down for that reason. There was no hierarchy. There was no structure.
And once they got structure and two people took the lead, it seemed like everything was, they were all in harmony at that time.
Hey, well, let me slow y'all down, man, before y'all run away with it, because I don't want to get to what the solution should or could be yet, but I want to get to the thing that we observed, right? Did we observe or did y'all notice what I'm saying with the women, like in the beginning? And if you look at it, in the very beginning, what did the men do? It was 3 men off that island within a day.
Yep.
Within a day.
And that was all ego. Well, 2 of them were ego.
They instantly went for who got the biggest nuts or who gonna do what. All right, you ain't doing nothing. You the laziest one. You the craziest one. The laziest and the craziest, go. And then he just don't want to be here, so you go too. Like, did y'all catch that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's something that happens. Like that happened on the show, them being gone, because that's an outlet for them to do. And then the group is still kind of small. You got a larger group, and then there's nowhere for you to go. then it's like, because especially people know that there's safety in numbers, there's strength in numbers. So if they were on this island, there was 40, 50 people, and it's like you can't leave the island, they would have stayed apart. But they were just like, all right, I'm over this. I'm not about to deal with it, and like I'm up.
But I thought that was also interesting in telling about how men sometimes, it's kind of like men would say, we can do all this stuff together, right? We got all this strength and this power, but we also will not. Some men won't go in the other room with other men because they don't want to fight. They're not going to. They're like, if we in the ring, it's going to be a fight. So let me just get out the room. Am I correct in saying that, fellas?
Say it again. You said some men won't go into the other room.
They want to go to the room with each other because they know it's either death or like, if you know what I mean. It's like a life or death situation. Just being around certain other men. It's like, oh yeah, we don't clash. We too alpha for this. We gonna get to something big. We out. We're not even gonna deal with each other.
I don't think that's alpha. I think that's.
We're not saying just alpha. I'm just saying just period.
Because the two builders on the show were clashing with each other.
Exactly. They were both like-minded.
Because they both did the same thing, and they were both so used to being leaders.
Exactly.
And they butted heads, and then one decided to leave, and then everybody relied on the other one.
But here's the thing is, they both would have been great to stay. They would have really helped the situation. But like you used the word ego earlier, I think, Dr. Woodley. You said the ego got in the way. They kicked in, and it got in the way of the basic need of like Freddie B just said, we know where there's strength in numbers. Yet our ego says it's time to go. I'm not gonna be here with him. He's not gonna be with me. I'm not gonna deal with it. I don't want to be responsible for him. That's a thing that happens in men groups all the time.
Yeah, I think I also played in the part of knowing the responsibility for the group. Like nobody wanted to knowing like, okay, I'm the builder, so everybody's going to expect me to take the lead on the builder, and it showed like they aren't really leaders. Like, because there's some people, like I said, and that goes back to what I was saying about beta. Like they actually are beta males, like because they know like I'm not really a leader. Deep down you're not a leader, so I'm just gonna leave. Because you just make an excuse on why you gonna leave and why you whatever. And the other dude stayed for a little bit, but then he realized, like, oh yeah, never mind, I can't do this. I can't. This responsibility can't fall on my shoulders because I can't hold it up.
Does this reflect in your daily life at all, Freddie B, Dr. Woodley? Do y'all see this with other situations, your social economical groups, your professional groups, your friend groups?
It happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. It's just some people feel that they are the alpha and they want to beat their chest, and they like even like what Freddie B was saying, and this is not a knock to you, Freddie, but I'm one of those that Freddie wants to be the leader. Hey, I want to see what you can do. I'm one of those. I'll step back to watch to see what's going to happen. And then if you start slipping, I'm like, all right, we did it your way. Now it's my way.
Oh, so you be back there talking shit about him?
No,
I told y'all nigga couldn't do it.
No, because
I knew it.
We got to survive.
He's gonna build a house. That nigga can't build no house.
Look, we got to survive. So that's the other part to it. I'm looking deeper than your ego and saying, oh, shoulda, coulda, woulda, or look, see what happened. It's a waste of time. Look, let's just get this house built. Let's get ourselves covered. Let's get this fire built. Let's get this water. Let's get all this stuff together, and we can laugh about it later. Okay,
utilitarian. Ladies, what did you know? Any reflections? Did you see yourself in the mirror of these women at all? In the way they treated their basic survival needs? Like, okay, we got to get to a place where we can sleep. We got to get water. We got to, did y'all see anything that reflects in your groups? Your girlfriends, your work groups, anything?
Well, from like a leadership perspective, like once they got towards the end and they finally established like a leader, I could see myself in that situation. Like, okay, we need some direction. We need somebody to kind of take the reins. The one thing I just got to talk about real quick is like the emotional state of the women. There was a lot of tears shed on the women's island versus on the men's island. The men, they kind of get a little angry, beat on their chest, kind of go at each other. But for the women, it was like a lot of breakdown, crying moments and things like that where we kind of console each other. And they really were like, whereas like a lot of the men were just like, I'm just gonna leave, and I'm just, you know, like they were just like, I'm just gonna give up and I'm just gonna quit. A lot of the women, like, they would not kind of let that happen. So like even the one woman who fainted, like while she was walking to go do something, she like fainted, and she was like, she was like, I refuse, you know, like she's like, I'm not giving up, you know, like it was like kind of like a slightly different mindset, it seems like, from the men's island to the women's island, where they when they needed to, you know, to really rally together to be that motivation for each other, they definitely did that, and it was a little bit more of a support system. Minus the one chick who didn't want to do nothing, the vegan of the group, who really didn't want to participate in, you know, in the slaughtering of the pigs and stuff like that.
The independent woman.
Yeah, you
she
can call it
said
that.
She was like, she said that on when she was like, I'm independent.
She did.
I don't need nobody. It's like, when a chick say that, I'm like, oh yeah, check out. I'm good.
Yeah.
But one thing I want y'all to pay attention to on her, and I have to agree with her on this, when they put all that stuff in the can.
Oh yeah, all that meat.
That's when she flipped and became that way, because she was just like, how are you going to do this versus taking care of our necessities and just store this food?
Well, here's the thing. Let me comment on two things. What you just said, Buddy Lee, was her job was taken away from her. So she had this independent mindset, this kind of almost in a masculine sense, and like a man, when you take his role away from him, you break down. That's what she did. She literally embodied that. And that's what you saw there. She did. But what Alana was saying earlier about the women, the crying and stuff, what I noticed, and I don't know if you ladies noticed this, I noticed that women consoled each other through their problems.
Yes.
So the solution wasn't as important as the consultation was, right? We need to get to the other side of this island. Instead of us walking through these woods, let's sit here and talk about it. Did y'all notice that in the very beginning they stayed many days in the woods? Because they took those first critical hours of their landing on the island to sit there and speak and talk and strategize and plan. Whereas the men just forged through. They didn't know where they was going, but let's just go this way. Yeah. And they found, not saying that their success means anything to the women's unsuccess, right? I'm just saying, based on what we saw, what we noticed was they did the core group thing. They got together, they consoled one another. Like Alana said, there was a lot of crying moments. And then they started to finally try and make some decisions. But some people were so stuck in the consultation phase and the planning phase, I think one lady even said, we got to stay here and plan. And the girl was like, well, we going out and look. You going to come or what?
Right.
See, I feel like that the reason why you saw the consoling is it breaks down, in my opinion, to communication. I feel like women are better communicated about how we're feeling, what we want, and what we need. Okay. We may not communicate that effectively to the opposite sex, but we can definitely communicate that to the next woman. So I think that played a key role in the consoling and not letting you storm off in the woods because you're in a hissy fit. And when it comes to that vegetarian, I honestly felt like she felt like that the group was being very inconsiderate about messing up her job and messing up the plan, that she had a very precise plan to purify that water. And when they decided to mess up that by putting meat in there, I think she thought that was inconsiderate because she doesn't eat meat and it messed up. She kind of had a foresight of what was going to happen once they eliminated that other canteen.
Yeah.
And just not communicating that amongst the group and coming to a collective decision about that. I think that's where a shutdown happened, is if I'm going to take in consideration everybody's thoughts, then why am I going to continue to contribute to the team?
Right. And I think the thing is that she had, there was very few women that I saw that had what I call practical, processing going on, right? There was a lot of impractical processing going on, like, well, we should. But she was like, no, we need water. Like, we learned this, we need water, and I'm the water person. So let me do the water. Oh, y'all will take that away from me? Okay, well then, you know what? Fuck it. I'm out. I'm gonna eat these nuts from these trees. Then she found a lime tree. I was like, how'd she find a lime tree?
Yep, she
found a lime tree. She went and laid on the beach by herself, and they was getting mad at her, but she was like, she checked out, okay? Yeah. And there was two other women who were really like, I wouldn't call them butch women, but they were really kind of be like the alpha females, right? They was actually doing the foraging and the food finding and all. They was really like they was the unspoken leaders until they became the spoken leaders, right?
Exactly.
And I think it's interesting that we saw this. All right, so now taking that framework of male and female, what we saw on both sides, right? Let's talk about our modern society today and all our conveniences. When you look at the group of men and you look at the group of women in today's society, if you snapped us off the face of the earth, right? And we had an average length of time to live. So let's talk about what that is real quick. So if you Google natural life expectancy, you're going to see the number 38 come up. But Nature Scientific Report says true global average of life expectancy for humans is 61 to 86. And to add to that, the United Nations says there are now some 570,000 centurions on the planet, which means you're over 100. So we're living a little bit older these days. But I argue that that's because of all these modern conveniences we have. So let's just take the 61 to 86. On the phone, we have everybody in the age range of 40, right? So 0 to 40 is on the phone, basically, right? Nobody's over 40, or Butler, you over 40?
Yeah.
All right. But how far over 40? Come on. Just work with me here. Oh, come on, dude. 2 years. I'm giving the beatbox. I got to give him the beatbox. Okay. But like, okay. So for all intents and purposes, you being the oldest person on the phone, you still got 20 years till you hit that first number 61, right? You got about 20 years.
I'm living another 208 years. So.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Do you think so? These people only had to survive for 6 weeks. Now, I need to ask a tough question here, fellas. Can y'all do it for 20 years?
Yeah, I think once you get past like first 6 months, you can make it 6 months. Then I mean, that's probably the hardest time.
Based on that show, would those men been able to do it for 20 years?
I believe they would toward the end. Like close to when they were getting ready to get off the island. I think they had found their unity and they were able to start learning to work together. Because they were even saying at the end that they were going to miss being on the island because they had gotten so used to it.
Right.
So,
right. And if you take sex out of it, right? The fact, let's take reproduction out of it. Like, those men, they essentially would be able to have made it. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, they would have made it.
Without reproduction needing to be involved, they make it to the end of their life expectancy.
Yeah.
Ladies, do you feel the same way about the women in the show? Well, first of all, yourself. If do you think you can make it to 60? Not just 6 weeks. Now we talking making it all the way 60, 61. This age thing is saying 61 to 86. So that's the age range of your natural life. All right, barring any unforeseen disease.
Right.
20 years. No men. 20 years. No, just y'all.
No.
I knew that was coming from Shenette.
I love how she's just right at it. I love it.
Shenette's like, hell no.
It's not happening. You just got to be realistic about you. You got to understand that you're taking us out of what we know and putting us there. It's not like we grew up there and that was the only environment that we knew. So having to try to adjust to that and accepting that you have to do that for 20 years, I don't think that can happen. Not for me personally.
Alona Boo, you personally?
I was confused about me just having the women getting lost for 3 days. Like, do you know how much we rely on GPS? I'm just saying, like,
yes,
you can't take away the modern world from me and expect me to just be okay for 20 years. I just can't.
Nah,
I love what we do.
Yeah. Having been already introduced to, the modern technology and all that kind of stuff, I mean, if it was a situation where I had to, I think I could make it, but do I want to and have the desire? Absolutely not.
Do you think those
that's
women?
The difference. That's the difference right there.
That's the difference. I do not have the desire to make it for 20 years.
Now, let me ask you a question. The women that were on the island, do you think they actually survived for 6 weeks? Based on what you saw?
Barely. But they made it.
No.
Yeah, they finally
think
got it. They finally sort of were getting it together towards the end. I think if they gave them another week, they would have really fine tuned their process.
Plus
they
that-
would not.
So now wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Now, let's explore that. Freddie B, you
Somebody
said
gave
what?
him fish.
Wait a minute, Freddie B, you said what happened?
Right, like
He said they
What did you
would've
say,
died.
Freddie? What did you say, Freddie?
They were on the cusp of dying. Some random, just so happened, a random boat of a guy with a big ass fish to get him was sailing by, and they flagged him down. He sailed over like, "Oh, y'all want a fish? Here you go, bang!" And they came back. I'm like, what? Like it was like looking at this show. It's like, okay, I knew that they wasn't just all on it. I could tell like there's certain elements where, especially knowing TV and Thomas, I know, you know what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna let you go, but I'm actually close to that part.
Too. You know, it's different parts you can see. Like, oh yeah, I'm sure they got like a little help. And like even it was one time when they had to pee in a cup. Like one girl's piss looked like Coke.
It was brown. Yeah, it was brown.
Like what? Like
That means her liver was
chicks,
failing.
They was about to die.
Well, you
They
remember
gonna
they broke their I forgot what the thing is called to start the fire. I mean, and they had to bring them another one. So
They had to bring another bowl. Like they was sleeping on the ground. The dudes found a way to build beds up off the ground. They got ate up by ticks. Like what? Them girls gonna get Lyme disease, AIDS, the new HIV plus,
Not the new AIDS.
the COVID-22. They gonna get all that stuff. What?
So
Wow.
They would have died. Like
So
it
you
was at
saying
one
so
point-
Freddie B? So you're saying they only quote unquote survived because of some unforeseen things that was being beneficial to them during their period of time that they were on the island.
Yes,
So you're saying that it was some shadiness going on that led to their quote unquote survival.
Right,
making it
had
to the 6 weeks.
It had to be because they shooting a whole season of this show. Like them chicks would have been gone early. They wouldn't have had nothing to film. Like these chicks were literally making friends with food. They ain't want to kill. They had to really get down to where their body was
Man, can we
failing.
talk about that pig? Man,
But I disagree. I disagree. I think that they started to shift.
they did start to shift, and that's
they
that
were
was
about
my
to die.
problem.
I think that's.
Cause
But
everybody died.
exactly. So here's the thing. So it's a life or death situation. So the women were presented with the fact that, hey, you guys are about to die, to the point we're about to evacuate y'all from the island. Once getting put in that life or death situation, they had no problem shifting, and they shifted immediately. The same thing with those them befriending these pigs and then realizing they had to kill them. When the shift was necessary, they did it. That's what makes me think they could have survived.
Look, I'm gonna say this one thing.
person.
I'm gonna say this one thing on the show. The brat, like we mentioned it earlier, but I don't think y'all really getting. There was a woman who said she was a vegetarian, and she was a vegetarian for this whole quote unquote weeks. Like that is unrealistic. For her to survive this whole time and be a vegetarian, and not have anything substantial to eat. We just talked about the rules of 3.
Well, we just said
Like
you can go 3 weeks without eating.
She was able to be a vegetarian because they got help. Had they really been alone, she would have had to eat meat, kill them piggies, or eat the alligator, the caimans, and all that type of stuff, or they would have perished.
Well, they
Would've
never
died.
ate the alligator. They had an alligator, they never ate it.
No, they didn't eat the alligator.
Well,
I'm saying they would have had to eat some type of animal, like physical animal on there. You can't survive off limpets and coconut bits.
So here's the
for
thing,
over
though.
a month.
I'm going to postulate something for you guys, and the thing that I will, from the standpoint of me being in television, I do know when there is a little bit of a hoax going on, or a bit of a And the fix was in. One of the things that happened in the series that let me know that there was a fix in on the women's side was when they contaminated their canteen. The canteen was contaminated with animal meat. Now, I'm pretty sure all of us have had to wash dishes, right?
Yeah.
All right, and you saw that canteen. How did the canteen get cleaned by nature?
Yeah.
It didn't.
Do that
They
little
said
bitty
it
hole.
was the maggots.
That ain't how maggots work.
No.
That right.
It's still going to be germs and
It would have
and
taken
viruses,
weeks.
Everything in
It
there.
would have taken weeks
Yes.
for maggots to eat that much out, as much as they stuffed in there, and for the maggots to leave and not have made a domicile out of the place, right?
Right.
So
Maggots are baby flies. That means that
Yes.
they would open up and a whole bunch of flies would have flew out.
exactly. So there's certain things aloof, right? One is what I saw from the series is I saw the women died 3 times. Here are my 3 times they died. When they ran out of food, when they ran out of water, and when their health started to fail.
He said they died 3 times.
Yes, they did. They died 3 times. They were aided. They were helped 3 times. And if you, I don't know if y'all watched this. Did y'all remember at the point where the doctor had a scale? Like, you didn't carry that in your backpack. Somebody brought that to you. Those health rations were brought to them. You know what I mean?
Because they were about to die.
They had to help them with hydration until they could start making water again. So what I learned is that before these women could get to the point, and this is what I want to bring up, is what I think, and this is just my opinion, but you guys can definitely discuss this, is I think that women can actually survive without men if, here's the if, they can make it to that end point that they did in the show, which is when they finally had the leadership, the organization, you know what I mean, where they actually started
unity.
Well, that's a good way to put it, unity. Now, ladies, do you think that this thing I postulated, is it true, or is this just a hypothesis of mine, or do you feel like y'all, you know, them women, they survive? Do you still stick with they survive?
What's the question again?
Just
that, do we think that they survive? Sorry, I was reading a text message.
Oh, okay. Well, I said, how you in it? I thought I was clear on that. Well, go ahead. Well, let Shenette was going to answer anyway. She had it.
I wanted to know the first part of the question when you said you postulate something, not where they survive, but the first part of the question.
They died 3 times. So I'm saying from watching it, they were dead 3 times. There was 3 deaths that happened. But if we can discount and if we could believe the movie magic that is Bear Grylls Island, let's believe the movie magic.
Yeah.
Then they can survive if they make it to that point. So that's what I'm saying. So do you believe they died? Number 1, or number 2, do you believe they truly made it to that point? And would you make it to that point in real? Like if there was no aid at all, you couldn't hop on that phone for nothing.
Ooh, with this group of girls, go ahead, Shenette.
With any group of girls,
I'm gonna stick with they survived. I am going to bring up that I find it funny how you pointed out these times they died, but you didn't mention any times about the men dying. So, we'll
present that for us.
Yeah, you pointed out. Okay, the times the men died.
Yeah, present that. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, let's go back to the women. I do stick with they survived because from what I gathered from the show is that the medical supplies there was like a whole box full of medical stuff that they were going to need, and so that was already on the island.
A scale though?
Because it so I actually ended up watching another season of it, and the men also had a scale. It was one of those things where the doctor of the island was giving medical things throughout the course to weigh and to measure them and any type of other physical examinations that they needed to do. So I do know that the men were provided that as well. We probably just did not see it.
Well, here's the thing. Are we talking season 2 or are you talking season 1?
I'm talking, it might have been actually season 3 where you saw the men also getting weighed and
right. So it's after after that whole thing. They got to keep the charade up. So yeah, that's a TV thing. Yeah, that's we call that keeping the charade up. Yeah.
I think that the men also struggled too. And see, the thing about it is the men, I feel like that they broke down as well physically.
When they died.
Now you didn't see around the time they were starving.
Yeah, I think they had some times they were starving.
They had that week of not having anything to eat, and they were surviving off them lipids and the coconut and all the stuff that they didn't even want no more. They definitely were struggling.
They were struggling. They were struggling because when homeboy decided he was gonna stop fishing. And everybody else went out there and they had the nets and they didn't catch nothing in the nets, and they took the little fish hook or whatever and they wasn't catching shit. Like y'all was struggling too. Y'all was starving.
Well, hold on, wait. Before we move on, Freddie B. Before we move on, Freddie B. You said struggle, right?
Struggle and died, 2 different things.
Wait, I'm just trying to clear what she said. She said they were struggling because what she also recognized was that there was a man who could do it.
There was one man who could do it. And without that one man, y'all would have died.
They were done.
But they had the one man, right?
If
y'all still had the one man the same way like the women had the one woman who was like, we got to kill this pig.
So before I let the fellas take, let me say this. Before I let the fellas take, because I'm gonna give it to you, fellas. I know y'all ready, but let me say this. I want to make sure we have a clean conversation. So they struggled, right? Because a man who was on the island with the other man decided, because he was doing the work, correct, that the other men weren't putting into their fair share, and that he would stop fishing. And then eventually that changed, right? Are we correct on that, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I want to add to that. At what point was there outside interjection, though, with that situation? That sounds like internal conflict, which we're going to have. We have that in life. But there was never outside interjection. Fellas, go ahead.
I was going to say it took. Well, let me just say this: so the guys who caught the caiman, it was more than one person who was able to catch that alligator, and it took 3 of them to kill it.
They got the geek guy in on it, the black dude.
Yep, the same one who set the fire. I mean, and so he jumped in on that, and everybody else started jumping in on different things at that point. But they all, I mean, yeah, he was kind of lazy there for a while, but I mean, they all jumped in and were doing what they had to do, and they were all complaining about it, but they all did what they had to do. And they weren't sitting back saying, oh, well, I'm not going to do this because of this. It was like, I mean, you had one. I mean, he didn't say anything. He just sat there and sunbathed and scrubbed his feet and everything else. I thought it was crazy.
Freddie B.
So what they were saying, like with the men, you had one guy who was like, he was fishing, he was bringing in all the fish, he was doing anything until they figured out the net, and the net was bringing in some fish. They had some problems with that, but they fixed it out. But the thing is survival is a collective thing. It's not, it's not a one person thing. It's not like, oh, one person can do it and do it by yourself. It's a collective thing. So you got this collective group of men who somebody could do this, somebody could do that, but collectively they were able to eat and get fish, and they built a whole shelter, beds, the whole nine. The women, on the other hand, had no one, not a woman, nobody there to go get food, to find food, who knew how to do it. And it took a minute for even just one woman to actually like, okay, I will kill this pig. And then even with that, they developed PTSD or something. They had trauma in killing the pig. They went through emotions and emotional trauma in killing the pig to eat for them to stay alive. Because one girl was damn near dead from because she hadn't eaten. So the men never met death and had to have intervention. The women had to have intervention multiple times so they would not perish. Struggling, you gonna struggle. Everybody gonna struggle. But to have intervention outside to not perish, that's only on the women's side.
And the nurse is the only one who really became like the one who's like, all right, well, let me kill him. She became the beast after a while. She was like, oh, let's kill this. Let's kill that.
The black girl was the doctor. She said the nurse or the doctor?
The nurse.
The nurse. Okay.
She was the one who killed the pigs and whatever else they had. She was the one that was like, all right, let's get this done because I'm hungry.
She was the only one. They only had one person that was even willing to kill.
But the thing, nuts. So it's crazy how, so we look at certain situations where we take advantage of any opportunity given to us. So you guys are really focusing on the fact that she was able to flag down this boat and ask them, this fishing boat, and ask them for a fish. That one intervention did not completely save them. She used that opportunity.
We weren't talking about that.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what y'all were talking about. I
think she made, because y'all mentioned it earlier in the conversation. Somebody did it.
It helped prolong.
But
it didn't. It didn't save them. I mean, that was just a. Okay, we got some food.
That was a strategic intervention, but because at the time they had no food. But I'm talking about just over, like, more macro. That was a micro situation, but more macro. Like, these women didn't even want to kill an animal. We had a group of women that didn't even want to kill. They had to get down to where they were dying, literally dying, before one was like, okay, I'll do it. And even when she did it, she had to overcome mental trauma. And it was a whole half of women didn't even want to be there. Like, I can't even see this.
But why can't the women get credit for overcoming it? Like, you guys are focusing on where they were, week 1, week 2, week 3, and not the fact that they were able to evolve to the point where they were able to stab the next pig right through the neck without even hesitating. Like, it's not about where they started. There had to be some adjustment. Yes, they were very emotional, and yes, they did befriend this pig, so they struggle with killing it. But do they not get credit for their evolution throughout that process to the point where it was second nature to kill?
So
they get credit for this?
So here's the thing: we're changing the question. The question is, would they survive? That's the question. Now, do they get credit? They can get credit for
don't move the goalposts.
But they can get credit forever and a day, but credit don't keep you alive. They would have gotten all the credit in the world and still would have been dead.
Well, let me give you an example. Actually, the women just gave them credit. They said they made it to the end. They feel like they would survive. That was, in my opinion, that was giving them credit, right? Or no?
Yeah, they made it. I mean, they made it off the island. They were able to show Bear like everything that they did, and
but the question I
had
asked,
to overcome. So yes, they got credit coming off, surviving, making it all the way through for the ones who stayed, making it all the way through and exiting the island.
But the question and the overall arching question is, but would they have survived? Because that's the biggest theme of the show today. Well, can they survive? And to answer, can we survive without each other? If we need each other, we have to ask if we can survive on our own, our core group first. I think that was one of the attempts the show was trying to make. They were trying to make that. They were trying to attempt to answer that particular question. Give into your own, I guess, devices, for lack of a better phrases. But can you actually survive on this planet by yourself? And I would postulate that this is a tough one to answer. But it seems if we use this show as a basis, I saw 3 deaths. I mean, I know the women say they didn't see a death. Fellas, what did y'all see?
Yeah.
3. I know I saw at least 1. I know I like you said 3. I know I at least saw 1, that part. Like I said, when they had to weigh and it was peeing in the cup, and then obviously when they called, it was hey ladies.
Dehydration.
You got to go get that other thing because they, for whatever reason, decided. Because the thing is the reason why they were about to die because of dehydration. They decided to put the pig in that can and bury it underground so they can save meat, so they didn't have to go
like
out
it was a refrigerator.
and hunt again. Yeah, they didn't want to go out and hunt because that's the big problem. That's why women wouldn't be able to survive without men, because they can't hunt, and hunting requires a certain level of physical strength.
Well, let's just say it this way. Let's rephrase it. Hold on.
Let's rephrase that.
Don't say they don't want to go hunting.
It's not they can't.
No. I'm not saying they don't want to. I mean, you can want and can are two different things. Here's the thing: when we talk about hunt, we talking about to survive. You don't have guns. You got knives and you got rocks and machetes. You got to bash a skull and you got to run and catch.
They had a knife and fish hooks. Remember, they had a knife and 8 fish hooks.
Right.
8 fish hooks.
Right. So you got physical strength that you have to take into account. And it's just biology. Women aren't strong enough to conquer beasts day in, day out. Because if you look, that's why they tried to save the meat. Because they understand, like, every single day going out and capturing and overpowering some type of beast to kill it, that is unrealistic for them. So let's try to save this meat. And they destroyed a canteen to purify their water. In doing so, making a stupid decision.
And the other thing too is for most men, that's built into our DNA to go out and hunt and conquer.
No, you saw the black guy now. No, you got to remember the black dude with the glasses. He was sitting on the beach. He was sunbathing while everybody else was hunting. Remember?
Yeah.
I mean, but generally speaking, men. That's
there's always
what men
one.
Do. Yeah, I mean, but you talking about all those men coming from first world country, first world environment. So and it makes sense with him. His job is he sits in an air conditioned building on a chair and clicks a mouse. That is all he's ever done.
The rest of them were doing some kind of physical labor. Even the car salesman still has physical labor because he has to walk around and show these cars off. I mean, there's physical labor involved.
So none of do you remember the 2 women that were kind of, they ended up becoming the leaders, and the one girl got the hierarchy? Do you now, and this is a question for the fellas, do you not think that those women would be able to survive beyond the dehydration, Well, first of all, beyond getting lost in the woods. So that was actually my first step. I'm sorry, I wrote my notes down. But beyond getting lost, right, and getting separated from the core group, beyond dehydration, and beyond the lack of nutrition, those women seem to be faring pretty. I mean, not the whole group, but at least those two. Would you at least give it to those two?
I believe they would make it.
Because the girl who found the pig, remember, and she hopped on top of him, and the black girl didn't want to get involved. She's like, "I'll get in the back." I love how she did that too. She's like, "I'll get in the back." She said, "I ain't not getting on this pig." Yeah. But like, would you give it to them?
I mean, I think you have a world of millions of women. I think like to make it 20 years, you might end up come back and it's like 1,000 women. That made it to the end, and then.
So you think a few Amazonian women would make it, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like it's a survival of the fittest type deal to where like because as people die off, then people gonna start eating people. You know what I mean? So you got that aspect of it as well. So I think like you're gonna have your cream of the crop women who might be able to get, but the average woman, like no, like the vast majority of women would not survive. Okay,
ladies, what do you think? The men? Do you think the men? You come back 20 years later. Like he said, it's 1,000 men, or is a civilization of men still thriving? Just honest opinion. I mean,
I think it's 1,000 men left too.
You think they died then they killed each other off?
That's it. It's just, it ain't nothing but 1,000 men left too.
and listen. You got to think, and fellas, you got to really tackle with this. Like you got to wrestle with this. I think there are men who
like my grandma when she said that. Man.
She did sound like it's my grandma.
1,000 men, shit.
But we got to wrestle with this. Like. Thing. There are men that will kill each other because they don't like each other, and that's the end of it. Some of the men,
it's conquered. Like men conquered.
If they didn't have think about it. If they didn't have a phone to get off that island, that might have been a fight between the other two.
Definitely.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yes, exactly.
So
I don't even think they would have. I don't think it would have been like that. I think the three that did leave, well, no, two of them that left. I think they would have just been somewhere else, living on the island. Isolated from everybody else.
Dying? You can't be by yourself. Remember, we surviving now.
I don't know how they're going to survive.
We got to get on the same. We got to give him the same credit we gave the independent woman. Remember the girl you were saying she was sitting? You got to do. If he out by himself, is he thriving?
He would have died.
He would have died. That's what we say. Okay.
If they'd have been excommunicated from that group and been on another side of the island, just them two by themselves, you don't have enough numbers to keep the fire alive.
There we go.
Water to do all the things.
There we go.
That's true.
Like they're gonna die.
I just want to make sure we hold the mirror up for both sides. That's all I'm saying. Make sure we
I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like they're gonna die. Them two, so them two, they wouldn't have left. They would have stayed there. But that's how you get in history, like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Like Caesar got betrayed and he got killed, and betrayal in different kingdoms, and then now you got a new king. That type of deal, like dissension, and that's where it comes in having a good leader. Like it's you can be a leader, but you have bad leaders and good leaders. Just like you can be a doctor and he's a bad doctor and a good doctor. You can be anything, but you can be a bad or a good one. And so that's the thing. Like what are the hierarchy dynamics of the group, and how does that work, and where do they fit in overall, and then the leader, how is he governing the group?
So let's do this. So now I need to ask y'all this simple question before I move on, because I want to make sure we finish this up. Do men need women for survival? Men, do y'all need the women for survival?
For pure survival, no.
Okay, wait. We're gonna stop that. We're gonna stop for survival, right? Ladies.
No.
Okay, ladies, do women need men for survival?
No.
Shit.
Okay. Who said shit?
Let me take my word.
That was Alona Boo said that.
It was that.
Alona said shit.
Voice is deep.
That's funny. Y'all funny. Well, here's the thing. Now that we both answered this question, and it's okay that you have your answer. I want people to know out there that it's okay to come to the resolution that you believe for yourself, because the truth will always be the truth at the end of the day. Like the internet level lost clip. We can have our opinions all day, but the truth will still be itself. What I'm curious about is, did you both take note of the black people on the show?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Did they seem to you, I don't know, like submissive, or almost like we gonna do whatever y'all doing, kind of like we just following y'all? Like, did you feel a sense of
Kyle,
like? Okay, go ahead.
He actually took initiative to set the fire because he used glasses to set that fire. So,
But you think that wasn't some arrogant shit though? Like,
I mean,
dumb
it was.
motherfuckers. Let me show you.
I mean,
how to
it
do
was.
Like, do you think that was some arrogant shit?
But I mean,
I think he just had another idea that nobody thought about. So he was like, let me, because they was trying to set the fire. They was having trouble with the traditional way. He was like, let me try this way because y'all having trouble. I'm gonna try this, and it worked.
How did the ladies feel about the doctor going down with the ship? I thought that was so crazy that she knows about dehydration. She understands how much water we need to have on a daily, but yet, at one point, you seen her laid out with her eyes closed. Like,
yeah, she was really, I don't know what to call it, passive. I expected more. Let's just say that. I expected more from her, and I just felt like she just kind of just went with the flow of things. She didn't really stand out to be a leader. She didn't really, come up with any great ideas. She wasn't at the forefront of trying to hunt. She wasn't really at the forefront of anything other than, collecting piss and weighing people, and I just felt like I just felt like, I expected more, of her. And I was a little disappointed by her. I was a little disappointed by all the black representation, the little bit that there was. Two black men and one black woman.
Because I feel go ahead, Shenette. I'm sorry.
I agree with Alana. I think honestly, her title of being the doctor, I think she did not. I think she felt like she didn't need to contribute anymore because she was the only doctor. Because I'm the doctor. So she was going to be needed anyway. So if anyone ever tried to challenge her contribution, she could play "I'm the doctor."
I'll let your ass die.
Because it seemed like
that's the card that she was given, and she could play it.
It seemed like the nurse was more concerned than the actual doctor was.
Right.
Now you talking about the men's nurse, the men's doctor, or you talking about the women?
I'm talking about for the women. It seemed like
for the women.
The nurse was more concerned about people's health and everything else than the actual doctor was.
But see, the doctor, she had the actual information. Did you notice that? They make sure to lean on her for the facts. Like, okay, but listen, we need X number of liters. What'd she say? Two
to 4 liters
of water a day or something like that. And she had like the numbers. So I feel like she had the information. I just thought, for me, and I didn't know if you guys caught this, there was some irony, and possibly the two more intelligent black people that were there were both kind of just sitting. It felt like they were sitting underneath the leadership of all these other white folks.
What I would add to it is I think
on the man and the female side is what I brought it up for.
Yeah, I think it's the minority complex. It's like, they all live in Britain, so in England, so it's less black people than white people. So you just normally and even here in America, like black people, you around a whole bunch of white people, you don't want to, because it's like, as a black woman, you don't want to be the angry black woman. You don't want to be the sassy, like, oh, she's just doing a lot. She's so loud. Why is she so aggressive? Oh my God. And you don't want to be the angry black man. He's so aggressive. It's because it's like our presence is intimidating off jump. So then it's like, if we start barking orders, quote unquote, then it's like, oh man, okay, Fred, okay, all right, calm down. Oh, Lana, geez, okay, all right. Somebody was on the wrong side of the bed. So it's like, you're like ingrained in how you just do that. So when you in this environment, you still move the same way. You just trying to keep the peace. You ain't trying to nothing get out of hand. Like, what y'all need me to do? And you just trying to fly under the radar. Cause it's like,
right. And I was wondering,
Good.
I was wondering if that's, like if they were literally trying to like play down themselves.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling that. I was
to
feeling
not
that.
come off, a certain type of way, because in our community, in terms of being a black woman, we're used to being the leaders of a household typically. So I just thought it was interesting that she took no leadership role, no accountability role, none of that. And I just thought that was real interesting. And I was wondering, I was like, are they just playing it down because they're black amongst a lot of white people, and they're just trying to appease everybody and just, make sure everybody's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't get it. I really expected especially a little bit more from the black woman. And I mean, I don't really know what I expected from what's his name? Kyle.
What I say about the black woman is like, she's also like, cause what you talk to is a little more like indicative of the black woman. She is British. She's black British. She's not black American. You know what I mean? So like black American women based off, life, like, the household, like in the house, the black woman, she's running the house. She's running the home. Like the home is ran by her. The man, he is like in history, like he go out, he take care of the house, he runs the house. But then when you come home, black woman, hey, everybody get up, let's go eat, babe. Come on, let's get up out your chair, let's go come to eat. And she's handling things like that based off, going back to slavery, Big Mama, all those different things that you see, like, she's running things. So I think it's a little bit different for her. And then on top of that, at the beginning, when they was lost in the woods, like the older lady, dark haired lady, she was older, so she kind of fell into the mama, like, leader role. But then the other chick, she kicked back like, no, we going to circle. Why we lost? I'm gonna do it. And then she wanted to be
they
the
was
leader.
lost because they weren't listening to the leader though. The mama was telling them where to go and they weren't listening to her. That's why they
weren't listening, and they stayed lost. And the one girl decided like, no, I've had enough, you ain't gonna lead, I'ma lead. And then she was like, all right, well then lead. And then she led, and then they was lost again. Then she on her own decided, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be leader. No, you take it back. It back. And it's like, as a black woman, you probably, and like I said, when you just you got black skin, and you live in that environment, you see that, you like, nigga, I'm not about to get into these white people stuff. I'm gonna let them argue, because it's like, exactly. Y'all arguing, y'all fighting. I'm gonna let y'all fight. I'm just gonna let me know if y'all need something. I grab this stick and y'all keep fighting.
That's real good, Freddie B. Listen, we're gonna put a pin in it. That's right, we're gonna take a virtual intermission. Look out for our special part 2 to this episode, where we discuss gender roles and whether or not the traditions of Black America are still working for us today. Until next time, peace.